Hi, Bobby Sawyer here with Johannes Meyer & Sawyer. Today we're going to talk about estate taxes, what your estate owes the government after you pass away. A few ground rules, new ground rules today because we're talking about taxes. One, I am not your lawyer, I am not your CPA, this is not legal advice, this is not tax advice. This is for informational and educational purposes only, and most likely I'm not even licensed in your state. So before you take action on anything you learn here today, please consult with an attorney licensed in your state and a CPA familiar with your state's tax laws. First thing, it's important to note that there's a federal estate tax and then there's a state tax as well. Depending on where you live, for example, in North Carolina and South Carolina, the state estate tax level matches the federal tax level. So you don't have to do different calculations there. However, there's other states where the state tax level is actually lower than the federal tax level. So if you're in one of those states, make sure you consult with a CPA when a loved one passes away to make sure you're covered in the tax world. All right, first let's talk about federal taxes. The way federal taxes work is essentially every individual gets a coupon to give away $13 million worth of stuff during the course of their life. Well, how does that work? Essentially, every individual gets to give away $13 million during the course of their life. You may be familiar with the IRS gifting rule, where if you give under a certain amount, right now I believe it's $15,000 per year per individual, you can give away $15,000 per year per individual without having to report that to the IRS. If it's over that $15,000 mark, then it starts counting towards that $13 million lifetime coupon that you can give away. But in most cases, people aren't going to be giving away $15,000 per year or more than $15,000 a year per two individuals, so they won't have to report that to the IRS, and it won't count towards that $13 million lifetime exemption. For a married couple, it gets doubled. And the way that works is that both spouses get that $13 million exemption, and there's something called the deceased spouse unused exemption. DSUE is what you hear CPAs and tax attorneys refer to it as. But in effect, it allows a married couple to give away $26 million in assets as opposed to $13 million for each individual. So that's how the federal estate tax works. If you get north of that, if you're an individual and you get north of that $13 million, or if you're married and you get north of that $26 million, right now I believe it's 40% tax rate. But again, that's subject to change whenever there's a new Congress and administration in the House, in office. So please make sure you check with a CPA when you're dealing with an estate. State law is different. I can tell you North Carolina, South Carolina matches the federal level, but there's other states that have a lower estate tax. It kicks in at $1 million. And so that starts impacting a lot more people than the $26 million. So the takeaways here, there is the gifting rule, IRS gifting rule. You can give away $15,000 per year per individual. That changes each year based on inflation and cost of living, so it very well may be different if you're watching this video at a different time other than May 2025. Individual federal estate tax kicks in at around $13 million of assets. Married couple federal estate tax kicks in around $26 million in assets. And state tax levels can and are different depending on where you live. So I hope you've learned a little bit about federal estate tax. The biggest thing to do if you're dealing with an estate and it's taxable is make sure you get a CPA involved as soon as possible. And if there's a particular comment or topic you'd like us to cover, please leave it down in the comments down below, and we'll address that in a future video. This has been Bobby Sawyer with Johannes Meyer & Sawyer talking about death tax. Have a great day.